All right, all right, all right. We are live on Facebook. We're going live on TikTok. Let me get this turned around there, and we are should be ready to rock and roll here. So, all right. Well, if you're joining in, I appreciate you jumping on today. Today's live should be a pretty good one, and we're talking about what are we talking about? I already forgot what we're talking about. No, we're talking about why you should run your business like a franchise. And some of you may be saying, "But Brad, I don't wanna franchise my business. I have no, no inkling whatsoever to franchise my business. I just wanna run a small business and make money and, do my thing, and that's it. I don't wanna run a franchise." That's fine. You don't have to actually start a franchise, but you need to set up your business as if you're running a franchise, and that's what we're gonna get into here today, and we're gonna this is really based off the book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. If you've never read that book, it's the first book I always recommend that anybody who's wanting to start out or who maybe is already in the trades, owns a business, and they're looking for book recommendations. Maybe they're just now on their journey to self-mastery. They're starting to invest in themselves. They're starting to read. The E-Myth is always the first book that I recommend because it's the fundamental basics of what you need to understand about running a business that it explains out in very, very good detail. Now, the one specific book that I recommend is called The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. He does have some other iterations of that, meaning there's like some that are specifically, I think he's even got one for contractors. That's not the one that I would recommend. The one I recommend is actually The E-Myth Revisited. Okay. So if you haven't read that book, it is a must read. It's like the holy grail of books to read if you're in business, and really any business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you own a business, it is the book that you need to read. Plumbing Sip says reading that one for the second time right now. Yeah. So you understand the power of it. I need to go back and read it. I haven't read it in many, many years, but the things that I learned in that book have stuck with me ever since. So one of the things that we're going to get into with the franchise, why you need to franchise your business, or in other words, why you need to set up your business like a franchise. Now, if you guys haven't watched the movie, I think it's called Ray Kroc. I think it's the name of the movie. I could be wrong about that, but it's the one. It's the basically like the autobiography of Ray Kroc and how he took over McDonald's and then built it into the multi-billion-dollar industry it is now. It is a He basically fundamentally created the franchise, the process for building McDonald's to what it is now. A lot of I haven't. This is not a dig on McDonald's, but I haven't ate a McDonald's in like 5 years because I'm not going to eat a McDonald's, right? But if we look at the company purely from how it's set up, from the operational side, it is a phenomenon. I mean, back in the day when it was booming, you would pay $1 million for the franchise rights, and you were pretty much guaranteed that you were going to have a restaurant that would generate money hand over fist nonstop because it was the true um, meaning of the definition of plug and play. You pay the franchise, you build the building, hire the people, and you just plug them into a system. And that is what you need to do in your construction business. Yeah, Plumbing Tip says systems is the key to success. 100%. It is one of the keys to success for sure. The problem that a lot of people do though is they want to build systems on the back end. So they want to build this entire business. They want to hire a bunch of people. They want to grow. They want to quote scale. That's the sexy word everybody likes to use is scale. They want to scale their business, and then they want to create systems when the business gets so big that they can't manage it. They're like trying to It's like trying to fight a forest fire with you out there in a shovel, right? Like you're a smoke jumper and you're the only one out there and you got a shovel and you're trying to control a 100-acre forest fire. That's how a lot of us do in construction, is we want to start implementing systems way, way, way too late in our business. And if you read Michael Gerber's book, he talks about you need to do this from the very beginning. And it's you're not it's if you're 5 years into your business, it's not too late. You just need to start right away. And one of the things that everyone should do, and almost nobody does, is create an organizational chart. And if you don't know what an org chart is, it simply looks like a diagram. Says here's the owner, and here's the, maybe the secretary, and here's the sales guy, and here's the production guy, and here are the techs, and here's the sales guys. And it just outlines everyone's responsibility in the business. Now, this is something I did early on in my business, and I had an org chart set up, and it's based on what you think at the time that you want to grow your business to. Now, most of us won't know, like we don't have any idea when we start a business what's involved, how hard it really is, what do we got to do, how many people we need, do we need to have a salesman or not a salesman? Do we need a sales manager? Like a lot of us don't understand all of the things that we need to go into the business, but you still start with what you believe is the foundational. So, if you're going to start, let's say we're going to use remodeling and you're going to use an employee model. Okay. We're going to start with that first. You know that you're going to need at least somebody swinging the hammer, right? And in the beginning, that may just be you. You are swinging the hammer. You may need a lead guy, right? Maybe you need two hammer swingers and a lead guy. Then maybe you need a salesperson. Maybe you're gonna have a sales team. If you're gonna have a sales team, you might need a sales manager and 3 or 4 salesmen. If you're gonna have an office, you may need an office manager, or you may need an assistant. So you need to outline all these different positions in your business. Even if you're the only one, if you're a one-man show, you still outline every single position that you think you want to grow to the size of your business. And then what you do is you label each one of those as a responsibilities. These are the responsibilities and who handles it. Now, if you're a one-man show and you're doing everything, your name is gonna be on literally every single position in the company. So if you have, let's say you have 6 positions in the company, your name's gonna be on all 6 of those positions, right? And as you start out, you start with the lowest hanging fruit. So you start with the lowest level job, which is gonna be the hammer swinger. And what you do is you document and you create processes for each, for that position. And you're gonna do that for each position. But you start off with the lowest hanging fruit. In other words, the lowest level position, the entry level position. And you create the processes and systems so that once that's done, once you've created it and documented it, then you follow it yourself to the T, and if you can follow the process or system and then get the result that you want, now you're ready to replace yourself in that position. So you're now ready to hire, say, the first hammer swinger, right? And so you're gonna hire them and you're gonna plug them into the system, and then you're gonna move up to the next level, which may be the foreman, right? Or the, lead guy, whatever it is, however you have it set up. And then you're gonna repeat that process. What is that person's position? What are the steps they need to do? What's the system they need to have in order to do that job? And once you've done that, you test it by doing it. If everything goes good, you move up to the next level after you hire someone. You hire someone to replace you there, you move up to the next level. And this is how you build your business. Now, there's also benefits to franchising, your business even though you don't plan on franchising it. One, it's gonna make it super easy, but 2, when you go to sell the business later on, and every single business that's ever been created has the potential to be sold. There's value there. If you're gaining a certain market share in the business in your area, and you hold that market share, somebody, maybe competitor, maybe somebody wanting to get into that space, but somebody sees value in that business. But if you build a business that relies solely on you, the owner, then you haven't built a business, you've only effectively created a job for you, and it's the worst job in the world. Being a business owner that relies on you to do everything is the worst job in the world because you're getting paid way less than what you could be making if you were doing the exact same job working for someone else. In most instances, not always, but that's usually the case. And so if you build a franchise, it makes the business way more valuable later on when you go to sell it. This also applies to, like, how you name your business, how you the marketing, the branding aspect of it, all that plays in too. But even if you have terrible branding, terrible marketing, if you have, 1,000 customers in your database, if you have a business that's doing, 5, 600, $1,000,000 a year, there is value in that you can now sell to someone else and make money when you're done. When you're like, "Okay, I'm done. I don't wanna do this anymore." You could sell it. You could sell the business and, maybe you get 100,000, 500,000, 5,000,000, $50,000,000. It just depends on the size of your business and what you're doing. But if you don't have a systematized business, unless the person wants to come in as an owner operator, in other words, create a job for themselves, they just want a little bit easier way to do that. Most people are not gonna wanna do that, so it's gonna be a lot harder to sell your business, right? So that's why if you franchise or if you at least set it up as a franchise, your business will run 10 times easier. Like, there's just it's a guarantee. It runs 10 times easier. So, throw, throw some questions in the, comments if you have any in regards to I mean, I don't wanna turn it into a systems-based question Q&A, but I'm okay if it goes there. If you have questions around what does that truly mean to, like, set it up as a franchise? What does that look like? Throw your questions in the, comments, and, we can kinda deep dive into those. Um, so creating an org chart is one of the most fundamental things that I did, and here's the other thing, when you go to hire someone, when people come to work for you, they generally wanna know where they can go up, like, where can they go in the company? A lot of people I was talking to one of the clients in the Profit Club a couple weeks ago, or might have been last week, and, actually, I was recording it for the podcast. If you haven't listened to my podcast, Lucas, who I'm talking about, he talks about it in the podcast. That was, what podcast was that? That was podcast number 87. If you go listen to the Hammer and Grind podcast, podcast number 87, I interviewed Lou Kennison. He owns a landscape, company in Wisconsin. He talked about before he started his own business, he was hitting these glass ceilings. He started when he was 14 and then worked for many, many years for people, and then he would work up to the top and hit a glass ceiling, and there was nowhere to go, and then he'd go work for another company and hit the glass ceiling, and there was nowhere to go. That's why he ended up starting his own business. But when you have an org chart based on where you wanna grow this company, and you have someone coming in who is going to be a it let me rephrase this. If you hire an A player, right, somebody that you want on your team, they're not just gonna come in and be perfectly content with just having a job and that's it. They wanna know where can they grow. A players are always looking to grow and how they can advance. And if you have an org chart that says if you start out even if you start at the bottom, even if it's a 19, 20-year-old kid, if you start out at the bottom as a, general laborer, apprentice, whatever, here are all the different positions that you could rise to. And if you have an org chart, and this is what I did in my business whenever I was going to hire someone, I would say, "Look, this is the direction of the company. This is where we're going. All of these positions here have to be filled. And so you may be starting down here, but you can obviously move up." And so now it gives them vision, forward thinking into where they can go. It's not, "Oh, I start out as an apprentice, I'm making $18 an hour. I'm just gonna do this for the rest of my life." No, that's not how it is. It's, "Okay, I'm starting as an apprentice today, but I know that if I do this, this, and this, and this, if I have a mastery ladder," which, by the way, if you guys don't know what a mastery ladder is, that is simply where you lay out everything that's expected for each position in your company. So, to sister on top of your org chart, what you're going to do is create your, like, requirements for those positions. And so if it's an apprentice, that requirement may be something as simple as, follow directions of the lead guy, um, learn how to operate the basic hand tools, learn how to operate power tools. Like, you set this where you want it to be, and you set these requirements, these skill requirements, maybe, no maybe you have no bad reviews, like, no negative comments towards you, right, after a certain period of time. Like, you lay out everything that you're expecting of this position so that when someone comes on board, it's like, "Okay, John, this is exactly what we expect of you. We expect this, and this. This is what you need to be on par with. If you can't do these things, then you're not gonna have a job in 90 days or 6 months or whatever." And then flip the page, or, the next position up, this is what that position is responsible for. The lead guy is responsible for this, and this. So if you can't do the basics, choose this one. This is the apprentice. If you can't do the basics, then you're not gonna be able to get to the lead, because the lead guy requires all of this, plus it requires all this additional knowledge and skills. But you lay out a path for them forward. That's the mastery ladder. That's how they know if I come in on day 1, if you have the perfect system, I should know exactly what's required of me to be able to do every position at least in my bracket of what I'm doing, right? Obviously, salesperson is gonna be totally different than a production person, but you should know within that bracket everything that's required to be able to ascend that ladder, the ladder in the business. Rambert says, "Are you suggest the best places to advertise for a custom interior Can you suggest the best places to advertise for a custom interior remodeling company?" Are you talking about leads, like, for you to get business or to find help? Can you clarify on that? So anyways, you do your mastery ladder and you lay out each position, and now people know what's expected of them. You can also take it one step further. You can actually have in your mastery ladder, built-in bonuses or built-in raises. So you can simply say, if you're starting out as an apprentice, and maybe that's an 18-year-old kid with no experience whatsoever, he has a base salary of, like, let's say 15 bucks just because he's, like, had literally never swung a hammer before. He's a very basic, right? You say, once you understand how to use, power tools, depending on what you're doing, if you're a remodeling once you understand how to use the chop saw, like, efficiently or effectively use a chop saw, the table saw, and maybe it's, circular saw, whatever you set it up, whatever it is, when you can do these things and then demonstrate them in a test that we've created, you now get a raise. Once you learn how to use a miter saw in all its capacity, you get a $1 raise. Once you learn how to install crown molding by yourself from start to finish and meet the quality levels, you get a $1 raise. Like, you can set all of these raises in there. Why is this important? Because it shows them exactly how to make more money. If you come in with no experience and I say, "Look, if you do here's 5 ways you can get $5 an hour raise. If you can do these 5 things, each one of these 5 things will get you a $1 an hour raise. Once you learn how to master these, or at least, within reason, understand how to do these, now they know what they need to do. If you simply tell someone from the very beginning, "Hey, if you learn how to use a miter saw, like, and be able to cut complex, compound miters and all this stuff, and do crown and all these things, once you learn how to master these, you get a $1 raise." He knows that person, if they're motivated, they may go home and start watching YouTube videos every night, and they may wanna stay after work and see if you or some of the other guys can teach them how to do stuff. Now, because they know that the only way they're gonna get a $1 an hour raise is if they learn this, right? We have to get away from this idea that we run our entire business out of our head, and then we just hire people that are like us, and they just know the same things that we know, and all I have to do is say, "Here, John, go remodel this bathroom," and do it the exact same way that I do it in my head. That is not how you run a business, and that is, like, literally what 99% of contractors try to run a business like. I just need to hire people that know what they're doing. No. This is where I go back to my video that there's no common sense. If I had if I took 50 carpenters from all 50 states and I put them in a, like a big arena, and I said, "Okay, guys, you're gonna build a garage or whatever, a little yard barn. Here's all the materials you need. Have at it. Do it the way you want." I'm probably gonna have out of those 50 people, 50 sheds, I'll probably have 25 different variations of how that shed's built, right? Some of them may have the exact same, like, put together the exact same way, but the way they went about doing it is different. Some people may throw the walls up, framed walls, and then throw the roof on and then finish the roof, and then come back and do the walls. Other people may throw the walls up, sheet the walls, then do the roof. Like, there could be so many different processes and ways of doing the exact same task, but somehow in our magic brain of ours, we believe that if we just hire a carpenter, therefore they know how to do everything the exact way that I want it done. And if it's not the right way I want it done, then I'm gonna tell you, "Hey, that's not done right." Instead of actually setting them up for success from the very get-go. We most of the time, we set our employees up for failure from the get-go instead of setting them up for success, because we don't see that as a viable time investment in our business. I can't train somebody, and, if I spend a year training them up, and then they just quit and they go work somewhere else. Well, that may be true, but the alternative is you hire someone who has skills, and then they completely do it the wrong way, and then you learn from that, and, "Yeah, I know how to do tile showers. I've done a bunch of them. Okay, cool. Here, do this one." You come back 3 days later and check on them, and it's all jacked up, and now you gotta tear it all out and redo it. I mean, that's not the employee's fault, that's your fault. "Hey, Google, be quiet." My, Google's trying to talk. So, I saw a couple questions coming in. Before I get to the leads and switch gears on that, Ramen, I wanna hammer home on the franchising part. So, there are many ways to excuse me. There's many ways to document what you do. Get a drink. Many different ways to document what you do. I'm not talking about the subcontractors, I'm talking about your employees. But even if it was a subcontractor, it's still your fault. A plus can A plus G can dumpsters. Everything that happens, in your business is your fault, and I've done plenty of work, but if we're gonna get into a big dick swinging contest, that's fine, but I've done enough work, I know what I'm talking about, and I have lots of clients with success stories to back up what I'm talking about, so, more than happy to get into a big dick swinging contest with you. Unfortunately, it's not gonna be very productive in this scenario, okay? Everything that happens in your business is your fault, and I mean everything. You hired the subcontractor. If the subcontractor shows up and doesn't do his job right, you hired them. It's your fault. You didn't vet them. Did you go check all the other jobs? If you got a subcontractor, did you go and look at 5 or 6 other jobs that they've done for other people? Did you give them an actual subcontractor working agreement that outlines everything that they're supposed to do and what they're responsible for? Do you check on them? When you hire a new sub, do you go in there and actually check on them and actually do a lot more checks on everything before you turn them loose and just say, "Hey, Mr. Tile Guy, I see you've been doing tile for 10 years. I need a tile guy. Here's a job. Go do it. I'll check on you in a week and see how you're doing." If you do that and they do it wrong, that is your fault. You're doing it wrong. Everything is on us. It's our fault. If you haven't read the book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, I highly recommend you go read that. Navy SEALs, one of the most elite units in the world, the leadership takes ownership of everything they do. But yet, Mr. Contractor wants to say, "Well, if the subcontractor does it, how is it my fault?" It's your fault, you hired him. Take ownership. So, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Back to employees, and then by the way, it's the same for subcontractors. It's just with employees, it's a lot more detailed because you have to let them know what the expectation is. You have to share with them exactly what you look like, and you wanna share outcomes. By the way, guys, when you're creating processes for your business, you share what the outcome looks like, not so much how to do every single step. So you share with them, "This is what I accept as a this is what I want as an acceptable outcome." Then, once they understand what the end game is, then you can go in and work on the details of how they get there, right? But again, a lot of us as contractors, myself included, we'd say, "Okay, guys, we're gonna remodel this bathroom. We're gonna put a new tile shower in, new floor, drywall, blah, blah, blah. We're doing all this is what we're doing. I'm just telling you vertically or verbally what we're doing. Now go to it. Figure it out." Like, that's what we do a lot of times, right? Instead of saying, like, this is what I, accept within this. Within when you're setting vanity cabinets, I don't want anything less than a, 32nd of a inch difference on face frames. If you're putting cabinets together, you should be able to take a penny and slide it across the face frames without any stops, right? Me just describing that to you now lets you know what a quality what I expect in the face frames that come together on a cabinet. If I can't slide a penny or whatever, it's just whatever you want it to be, I'm just using as example. If I can't slide a penny across there without it catching, then it's not smooth enough. Now I gotta go back to the drawing board. But if you never tell someone that and they go, "Hey, have you ever screwed and put cabinets together?" "Oh, yeah, I used to do it all the time in my old job. I've done probably 20 kitchens." "Oh, okay, cool. That means you must know what you're doing. I don't have to check on you or do anything else." No, that's not what it means. You say, "This is what we expect. You gotta slide a penny across there without catching." And the guy goes, "Well, I've never like, that's crazy. We've never done it that tight. We just screwed them together, and if it wasn't straight, that's just how we did it. I understand that's how you used to do it, but if you wanna work here, this is how we do it." Right? And now you outline what it is for you, what it is for them to work for you, what that acceptable outcome is, okay? That's how you define the end result. You define it by, like, laying it out like that. If any one of you watching this right now, would if you were to come work for me, would you and I told you that exact same thing, would you have any confusion about what the face frames coming together, would you have any confusion around how tight they need to be? Like, how tight and clean that they need to be? Just throw it in the comments if you would be confused. And that was a quick and dirty example, that I was just talking about. But would you be confused on what my expectation would be on the face frames of the cabinets? And I see that looks like my internet's not doing very good, so apologize if it's cutting in and out, on that. Unfortunately, I didn't write the processes for the, quality control on the, internet service. So, if you're watching this, and would there be any confusion about what I expect on the face frame of the cabinets? Stupid internet. I apologize if you guys are if you're losing internet, I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I have no control over the internet. Can you guys see me? Somebody throw a 1 in the comments if you see me now, if I'm live, 'cause it keeps cutting in and out. Okay. Thanks, Wood Warlock. I know it's going in and out. I know it's going in and out, and I apologize for that, crappy internet. So and I just lost my train of thought. A couple things you can yeah, I know it keeps skipping out, stupid internet. A couple things you can do, a couple processes. One is you can just literally write down what you do at the end of each day. Like write down a process, pick one specific thing and write it down at the end of each day, right? If not the entire day, just one thing that day. And each day you do something, write it down. Two, you can take pictures or even videotape it. You can videotape it like, hey, if this was my phone here, it could be very basic stuff. Hey, this is how we hook up the trailer to the truck. We want to make sure that the jack's all the way up. We want to make sure that the chains are crossed. We want to, whatever your process is. As silly and as dumb as you may think that doesn't matter. One time I had an employee who brought the trailer back from we have like a lawnmower trailer, like a 14-foot open trailer, and then I put 2x12s down the side. It was about 2 foot tall. We use that as a trash trailer because I hadn't invested in a dump trailer yet. But when he came back from the dump, the jack stand was bent way back. Like if this is the tongue going back, it was bent way back like this. And I was like, dude, what happened? He goes, man, they must have because a lot of times back then, if the trash wouldn't come out, they would take their backhoe and like put it in the trailer and scrape the trash out of it. He goes, whenever they put it down with their bucket, they must have hit it too hard and bent it because I saw the truck, whenever they do it, and they are pretty rough. They are pretty rough. And at first, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Those daggone people at the transfer station, they don't care about anything. And then I got to thinking about it. Of course, my buddy works at that place, and I called him up and I said, "Hey, man, just so you know, the guys out there, they jacked my trailer up, bent the thing. I'm not looking for like really any help or anything or pay. I'm just letting you know, guys kind of tore it up." He took it up running up the flagpole. The next thing I know, nobody's allowed to take backhoes, take their backhoe and scrape trash out of it. So inadvertently, which was not my that was definitely not my goal, was to get that removed because it came in handy for me. It turned into that happening, right? Later on, I found out that what really happened was that he forgot to raise the jack stand up. And then whenever he drove, it caught on something and bent it back. It probably happened at the transfer station because there's a real big dip. When you go in, they have like a washout dip to keep trash, and it's a real big dip. And if you don't have that thing all the way up, when you dip that jack stand will hit the ground and bend it. And I'm pretty sure that's when it happened. And my employee may have lied to me, or he just may have not have known, exactly when it happened. My point to that whole story is that simply having a process for your, how you hook up trailers could have prevented that. And a lot of times you can take a picture, like you could just take a picture of like, this is what it looks like. And then you can laminate that picture and then somehow attach it to either in the truck, on the trailer, in a SOP manual, however you want to do it. There's so many ways that you can document processes in your business to make it easier. Now there's a service. If you want to pay for it, you do have to pay a monthly fee for it. It's not very expensive. But there is a company that's called Gemba Docs, and you may not have ever heard of it. Gemba, GEMBADOCS. Gemba Docs. If you go to their website, gembadocs.com, what they do is it gives you essentially like a login, like your own login, and it has like a database. And you take pictures to document processes or videos, and it will assign you a QR code. And all you have to do is take this QR code, and I'm not sure, you may be able to buy stickers from them. I don't know that to be true, but you can take these QR codes, print them out, laminate them, whatever you want to do, and stick them on things. So somebody was talking on TikTok that one of their employees I think he put regular gas in a diesel truck. I think that's what happened. Like the guy had never filled up the truck. He'd worked there like 6 months, a year, never put gas in the truck, because it was always filled up. But this one time he drove it, he had to put gas in the truck and did not realize that it was a diesel and put regular in there. So how do you avoid that? A lot of us would say, well, that was just a dumb employee who doesn't know how to, that diesels get diesels and gas get gas. Well, if you've never done that before, you wouldn't know. It's not common sense. So how do you solve that? You get a QR code, you get a sticker, and you stick it on the gas door. And then you train your guys to know that, hey, before you do something, if you see a QR code there, make sure you scan it and do it right. And so you take your phone out, it just works off your cell phone. You take your phone out and you scan it, and it pops up the instructions on what to do. Now, that's how you idiot proof things in your business, right? We're going to make mistakes. Your employees are going to make mistakes, but if they make one mistake, document that process so that it doesn't happen again, and then create some type of system. And so that's just one. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but the Gemba Docs is a pretty awesome way to do it. But you just gonna have to spend a little bit of extra money. You can do that yourself in house, print out on a piece of paper. You can take videos are great for certain things. They're not always great for entire processes, because you could end up with like an hour-long video on how to do something. And so you don't really want to do that. You want to just maybe you either break it up into multiple videos that are very specific. Like if you're doing a long thing, like let's say you're going to teach somebody how to install crown molding. Well, that could be an hour-long video. So instead of making an hour-long video, you break it up into like 10-minute videos or 25-minute videos or whatever it is that's easier to digest, and you have them titled like this one here is how to set up your chop saw. That's one video. It's a few minutes long. How to set up your chop saw to cut crown. The next one is how to how to cut crown, how to cut inside corners. That's another video. How to cut outside corners. That's another video. Like you can break it up into multiple videos if you're going to do that. Don't just do one long hour-long video, because your guys won't watch it. But you can also do it with pictures too. So that's really what I want to talk about today, is getting you understanding that if you set up your business like a franchise, it's going to be way easier to run. And by the way, franchises are set up to run without the owner. Most franchises are set up so that the owner does not have to be present. But you got to start at the bottom and then work your way out of a job. And you do that by documenting. Questions. I know there's a bunch of questions that came in. Rammert had a bunch. So I'll answer these questions and then we're going to hop off here. So where do you advertise for help? Or you suggest the best place to advertise for custom interior modeling company for leads and advertise for help? So when it comes to hiring help right now, all of your best help that you want to work for you are working for someone else. Nobody's sitting at home on their couch waiting for you to call. Nobody. Maybe a 1 in a million chance that a good dude got fired because a company went out of business. He lost his job, and you happen to post a job, and he gets on there when he gets home from work, and the timing of the earth and the moon and all of the tides, they all align perfectly, and that person sees your ad and then comes and works for you, right? Like you have a better chance of winning the lottery than that scenario actually happening. So all of the good people are working for someone else. Sorry, my wife's texting me with an accident here. Something we got to deal with our son. Sorry about that. All your good people are working for somebody else, so you have to create a business that's attractable, that the people want to come work for. Think of an easy way to illustrate this is if you think of a different industry altogether. Doesn't matter what it is. You pick an industry. Who is the top person in that industry that if you were going to get a job in that industry that you would want to go work for them? And if whatever that answer is, try to create that in your business. So the reason why people want to go work for someone else is because they believe that it's going to be a better experience for them. It's not always about money, guys. It's not always about who's getting paid more. True A players look at the long run. They look at the long game. Where can I go in this company? What's the long game look like for me? Right? People that are just collecting checks, they could give a crap less what the long game is. So if you want true A players are not going to go work for you if you're not an A company. Okay? So think of it this way: if you were pick your favorite, baseball, football player of all times, whoever's playing, would they? I'll just pick. Let's pick Brady, Tom Brady. Right? He's one more year supposedly for the Buccaneers. Whenever Brady was done with the Patriots, do you think that Brady would have went and played for the worst team in the NFL? Like, even if they paid him an ungodly amount of money, do you really think Tom Brady would have went and played for the worst team in the NFL? And I don't know who that is. You guys might know that. The answer is no. Tom Brady was not going to go play for the worst team in the NFL. He's only going to go play for the teams that he believes are going to have the greatest chance to win a Super Bowl. And that's why you have to be that company. You have to be the company that that the people want to come work for. So much so that they leave their current position because they just want to be associated with you. And that is done through outward social media. One of my clients in the Profit Club, he hired on a full-time like marketing person, and her sole job is to like market their business on social media. Now she also helps out with sales, but it's to help on, they go every day. He's at the job site and he's on TikTok and he's posting videos of his team and what they're doing. He's not really posting like, look at this big building that we're building. It's all beautiful and look how good we are. He's posting the culture of their team. He's posting videos of two of his employees that are like racing across the parking lot, doing some kind of dumb race on their lunch break. He's posting videos of them cooking out every day on the job site. One of the guys, they bring a little gas cooker. They're cooking out on the job site. He's posting videos of culture because people want to be a part of that. Man, my boss we never cook out on the job site. We never have fun. It's all about making money. Right. And so he's posting what the culture that he wants, and people are attracted to that culture. That's what you have to do to attract people to your business, is you have to document the culture. You see a lot of people that go and like basically interview their employees. Hey, John, what do you love most about working here? Well, I just really love the fact that, everybody gets along. It's a fun atmosphere. We eat out all the time. And, anytime I have to take off early to get my son, if he's sick, we always accommodate and blah, 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 blah. Right. And then you post that on social media. John Blow, whoever, John Smith, who's on his way home, he jumps on Facebook when he gets home. He just got chewed out by his boss because, the boss sucks at his running the business and is blaming his employee. And he gets on social media and up pops your little, comes across your video. And the guy's saying, I love working here because we do this, this, and this. You don't think it's going to like, their ears are going to pop up and be like, wait a minute, my boss is a dickhead. He never does this and this. I need to check out this company and see what's going on. This is different. I've never heard of this. That's what you have to do to attract people, right? You have to steal them. You have to steal them. And when I say steal, I mean ethically steal them. I don't mean like roll up on a job site and be like, hey, I'll pay everyone here $5 more an hour. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about attracting people to your business. Quality leads, Ramit. That's kind of it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, except you're doing it for your customers. You're not showing the culture. I mean, that does work too, by the way, because customers like to see the culture of the company. They want to know the company that's going to be in their house working. Are they a bunch of crooks? Do they have fun? Like that also helps with selling jobs because people see the culture. But you do the same thing with your jobs is just by showing some of the behind the scenes. You walk in, one of the things I would love to do, and you can set this up. You can stage this, okay? But it's like you pull up to the job site, you turn your phone on live, you go live on Facebook or whatever you're on TikTok, and you pull up to the job site, and you're like, hey, just got here to the job on Walnut, Walnut Street. You want to check in on the guys and see how things are going. And you walk in the door, hey Chris, what's up? We're live on Facebook, showing everybody what's going on. Chris is like, hey, what's going on Facebook? I'm like, Chris, what are you guys working on? Oh, we're just getting getting the drywall prep. We're going to start hanging drywall here and get it mud and tape today. Awesome. And you just kind of do a behind the scenes of what's going on. And you may say something about, oh, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but one thing that we always do in our jobs is we always make sure that the whatever it is, the studs are always plumb. A lot of contractors actually skip this step, but we like to go a little bit extra and make sure that all this, everything's plumb or blah, 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 blah. Whatever your differentiator is that you do differently, you can say that in the video. The point of that video is not to dog everyone else. It's to show why you're different. And then you just post stuff like that regularly. And then you can run ads on Facebook if you want. But those are some general things that you can do to help generate business leads in your business. So with that, I do need to run. I got to go take care of something with my son at school. So I appreciate you all tuning in here. Before you leave on TikTok, do me a favor, double tap the screen. Just the likes help with the old algorithm thing and lets me know if I did a good job. And if you're watching on Facebook, give me a like on that too, if you wouldn't mind. Unless you didn't like the information. If the information wasn't very good, then you don't have to do a like or let me know. But I appreciate you all tuning in today to the live. I hope it was helpful, and I'll be back next Monday at 4 p.m. same time, Central Standard Time, and we'll do another one. So until then, have a great week, and I got some exciting news coming up. So stick around. Make sure you pay attention. If you're not following me, follow me. I got some exciting news about a new product that I'm coming out with. I think a lot of you may be interested in it. All right. So make sure you put your ears to the wall and listen for that's coming down the pipeline. Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.